Thunderstorms are common at this time of year. They pass as quickly as they come. But the current political turbulence over Hong Kong feels of a different order. Its cause is the confluence of two historic currents: the unstoppable rise of China and a promise made more than 20 years ago by a fading empire. On Sunday, hundreds of thousands of people marched to the centre of the city. They were the largest protests since the handover from Britain in 1997. At stake, say the demonstrators, is nothing less than Hong Kong's status as an island of rights and freedoms in a one-party state.
You are taking away everyone's personal freedom and safety. At least up till now, most people feel that they're safe in their own beds. But once these extradition proposals are passed, no one is safe.
At issue is a bill currently making its way through the Hong Kong legislature, which would allow people accused of certain crimes to be extradited to mainland China. No! Its proponents say it merely closes a legal loophole, but the demonstrators fear it spells the beginning of the end for certain fundamental rights.
Because everyone would be put at risk of being extradited to the mainland, where we all know there is no fair trial, there is only arbitrary detention, forced confessions, etc., etc.
This city is no stranger to protest. 5 years ago, we were here to cover huge demonstrations against interference from Beijing. The umbrella movement lasted for nearly 3 months and achieved effectively nothing. Could this time be different? Away from the city centre, young activists are agitating for more radical action. Their posters call for a day of strikes tomorrow and for people to surround the legislature. Despite their rights and freedoms, they asked us not to reveal their identity or even broadcast their voices. The police are using increasingly harsh tactics, this man told me. He said he was frustrated by peaceful protest. He talked about bringing the city to a standstill, but he said the cost of radical action can be high. When control of Hong Kong was handed back to Beijing in 1997, Britain and China signed a treaty that enshrined certain rights and freedoms for the people of this city.
Hong Kong people are to run Hong Kong. That is the promise, and that is the unshakable destiny.
The arrangement became known as One Country, Two Systems, and it was supposed to remain in force for 50 years. But Anson Chan, who was the last British governor's deputy at the time of the handover, believes Beijing is working to undermine Hong Kong's freedoms.
It's abundantly clear to all of us that there is a steady erosion of one country, two systems. Britain put its signature to the joint declaration. So it's very much up to Britain to see to it that the promises which they made solemnly to the people of Hong Kong and to the international community, that those promises are fulfilled.
And is Britain doing that?
No.
Outside the Legislative Council tonight, they stood in the rain and prayed. Tomorrow, more protesters will gather as legislators convene for the second reading of the bill. Many of these people were just children, some of them not even born at the time of the handover to Beijing in 1997. They feel like they were given a promise 22 years ago of certain rights and certain freedoms, a promise that is now being broken.
Because I'm a teacher also, I love my students so much. So I'm so very...
You're worried about the younger generation?
Yeah.
What are you worried about?
I worry about them. I worry about they cannot have the freedom we had before. They cannot speak what they want to speak like us. So I don't want like this.
The pro-Beijing parties have the numbers to eventually pass the law if they want to. But with Britain distracted by Brexit and Trump engaged in trade wars. In this battle, Hong Kong may find itself alone.